Hi all, Prophet of the Dragon Steve here. Lucky enough to frequently work with Salty Texas C, Amanda Manethrin, and Nerfordia Lifeform on a consistent basis. The Nerfordia Lifeform is honestly one of my favorite people to work with on this platform. He is a genuine person, always upbeat, uh, always has a smile to give, and generally fun to be around. Nerporio is serious about fandom. He is a huge Star Trek fan. You can pretty much pick out any detail at random about Star Trek. He's a fan of very many sci-fi series as well, and he's also serious about Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. With the Rings of Power looming, the attacks, name-calling, and rhetoric towards legacy Tolkien fans is ramping up to a new level. Nerporio has experienced this firsthand with the attacks on the Star Trek fandom. These Fires of Fandom interviews are important because no matter what your fandom is, whether sci-fi, fantasy, or something else anime, it lets all of our voices be heard, especially those voices that sometimes will be too quiet to hear. And I know that you're going to enjoy what my friend, the Nerporeal Lifeform, has to say.
I first discovered Tolkien at church, believe it or not. My family never heard of The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings. So this was a book that was recommended by fellow parishioners. And I eventually I discovered in book form. This was late 90s. So my Sunday school teacher was a huge Lord of the Rings fan. He owned several versions of the book. And he would, during the Sunday school, he would tell us like who was cast as which characters. So it was interesting. It got interesting to the point where I eventually wanted to read it before seeing the movie because what I saw looked really good. I feel that just the concept of people. I mean, obviously, people coming together, like the media has been saying, but the fact that different people from different different races come together, they work together to fight off an existential threat. In this case, it was Sauron. But the other thing is just the idea of brotherhood, the idea of loyalty towards treating other other people with fellowship, other people with brotherhood. I mean, like Sam was a servant of Frodo, but he ended up becoming a brother ultimately in the end. And even though no one died at the end of Lord of the Rings, just seeing Frodo and the rest of them leave was probably one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life, because we were so invested in these characters. There's so much depth, as Tom Shippey puts it. There's so much depth to what Professor Tolkien put into his mythology, into his legendarium. So, I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's a good question. I mean, I've asked other people this question. Like a lot of people, I mean, I think the best of the Hobbit characters was Sam, because Sam was the one. If it wasn't for Sam, Frodo would have never made it to Mount Doom. Sam was totally loyal to Frodo when he didn't need to be, but he cared enough about the mission, and he cared enough about, well, Frodo himself. And I mean, so Sam is a very big character in Gandalf. I mean, Gandalf is just, the no-nonsense father figure for the rest of the characters. Like he's someone that we all looked up to, and when he fought, it was awesome. And that's the problem. The thing was, we wanted to see that in older characters now, with like Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and what we get is just a bunch of failures who give up. And it's not something people want to see. People want to see Gandalf the White, or Gandalf the Grey becoming Gandalf the White. Someone getting better, getting stronger, getting more wise. I mean, the books. Tolkien's work, direct work, is obviously the most, is the source material. But I think the movies, the Peter Jackson movies, capture that capture what Tolkien envisioned, even though Christopher Tolkien did not, even though Christopher Tolkien thought it was for teenagers, action movie for teenagers, which I can kind of understand. There were some changes that had to be made for cinematic reasons, because sometimes things in the book kind of might come off as kind of anticlimactic, especially with Frodo, especially what the final segment with Frodo and Gollum in the ring. So whereas Gollum just kind of accidentally falls off the Mount Doom, in the cinematic version, Frodo and Gollum fight for the ring, and then they both fall. Of course, Gollum, falls, and then Sam helps him. So I mean, there's some, but yeah, the movies capture really capture the heart of what Tolkien was trying to tell, the story of what Tolkien was trying to tell. And it means so much to so many people, not just me, so many people. That's why people are not happy with this new show. I mean, from all of the things that they're changing to make it seem like to fit the real world, it's just a freaking oxymoron. I mean, Tolkien's world is its own world. You follow the rules of Tolkien's world, Middle-earth, Silmarillion, or Arda, whatever you call it. It's not a reflection of our world. It's a reflection of that world. Even though Tolkien originally wrote the Silmarillion to be old England, like, before they lost their mythology. So, but still, it's Tolkien's world. You stick to can I swear?
Yes.
You stick to the fucking source material. You stick to the fucking rules of what Tolkien wrote. You put on your show what Tolkien meant. And this is not just my words. A lot of better YouTubers have said exactly what I've said, and I agree.
As ever, this is Salty Texas Sea. I am Corey DB. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you've seen and heard, please hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you on board. That way and we have things like live streams, which we are going to be doing every Tuesday evening. Take care. I hope you're having a great 2022.